Hello and welcome to another video episode, depending on whether you are watching or listening to this. So, I've got a bit of an exercise for us to do together. So, you might want to have a paper and pen or pencil available, or phone to take notes or something like that. But I think writing it down will do a lot better. So, if you want to pause this and go get those, then really good. Okay, so now that you've got your piece of paper, or you can do this in your head if you're good with numbers. So the first thing I want you to take a look at in this exercise is I want to write down all of the training you have done to arrive at your point today. So all of the things that you directly or indirectly rely on to do the work you do. So for me, I did a degree in education, which I'm not a teacher, not a formal school teacher, so don't really use that as much, but still the learning and pedagogy still underpins a lot of what I do, and I do rely on that a fair bit. So yeah, 4 years in a degree. Then I did my forest school training, add that in. And if you did any kind of workshops or bushcraft courses, so I did the bushcraft competency with Dave Watson. I did a Stone Age course with Will Lord. There was a few others in bits and pieces. Some canoeing and camping with Red Oak, Pete from Red Oak. So yeah, write all of those courses down. You may as well write down any conferences or skills days or skill shares. Pop all of those down, and if they did have a cost, write those next to them. So my course, I was after they changed the monetary requirements, so I was paying 9,000 a year for that. So over the 4 years, that's what, 36,000. So just go pop that in. Up in forest school qualification, I can't remember, it was about 1,000. It's been a while. Yep, that goes on down as well. So just make a list of all of that. Okay, and just total it all up. So it should be a decent figure if you're anything like me. Probably somewhere in between, like a couple of thousand, 5,000, 6,000. You might want to also get your first aid qualifications and DBS and that stuff in there, but we can also add that in a little bit later. So yeah, somewhere in between 2,000, 3,000 and 30,000 is pretty normal if you've got a degree or not. So now I want you to have a think. How long have you been in this space? Even if it hasn't been directly teaching, how much time have you spent in kind of learning the skills you have, the bushcraft skills? How many years? For me, I was involved with bushcraft before I started teaching it, so I've probably been doing it for about 8-9 years now. So just go pop down 9 years. 9 years experience. And now I want you to this is more of an estimate. I want you to think about how many hours of skill development you put in an average month. How many times do you sit down outside and construct something that you're going to make for the children? Or look up a new activity, or browse Pinterest for ideas, or go and chat to someone who's really knowledgeable about something, or just when you go and visit another forest school, just to see what they're up to, or those skill exchanges you've been to. So just pop down a monthly number, multiply that by 12, and multiply that by however many years you've been doing this. That should give you a pretty good number. So I'd say for me, I spend for a month, go say about 6 hours. 6 times 12. Now you're asking 72. So 72 hours a month. Sorry, 72 hours a year. Multiply that by 9 years, and we're probably looking at. I can't do that in my head right now. Just concentrate on this. But it's a decent number. It'll be just short of 900, so 818 or something like that. 828, somewhere around there. So that's quite a few hours, quite a few years. It's quite a bit of money. Now, I just want you to take a look at all of the things all of the expenses that are outgoing for your business that you have to take on. So you could put first aid in this, you could put keeping a valid DBS, you could add in keeping all of your kit available, money you've spent on good quality equipment, membership to any professional bodies, so like the IOL, the FSA, all of those, managing your food hygiene certificate, staying up on top of your taxes, insurance, all of that. So just pop all of that down, give yourself a bit of a basic running costs. Now once you've got a good idea of all those figures, got all of them on paper, you can see kind of what you've invested in the work that you do. And if you're anything like most forest school leaders, bushcraft instructors, you've invested a lot. And so this is almost, you're looking at a summary of all of the time and money. It's probably underestimated. It's probably vastly underestimated all the time and money you've spent on this. Now, you notice one question I haven't asked about, and that is either return or investment, or the other thing I haven't asked about is your enjoyment. Because if we're looking at it from purely putting the business hat on properly, your enjoyment isn't an important factor when you're looking at investment. Not saying it isn't an important factor in generality of your life, but overall, if you were a business consultant and you were looking at your own business as if it was someone else's, whether the person enjoyed it or not would be immaterial for you to work out whether it is a functional, viable business. But somehow, when it comes to things in the outdoors, we have this, I guess, a hang up. We have this thought, that this unwritten rule, that if I'm either changing people's lives or really enjoying it, then I need to put aside all of my thoughts about how much time and money I've invested in this, and all I should deal with is what I think other people think my time and money is worth. And we see this across a broad spectrum. It's this whole idea, I'm not going to say it's unique to Britain, but this is where I've lived and worked for a very long time. But it's this idea that if you enjoy what you do and or help people, then it's wrong to earn money for that. This is a prevalent cultural aspect to it. And it has a deep roots, and that means that sometimes when we're asked to do something, we may not really sell ourselves properly. We may undervalue ourselves because we're enjoying it. I mean, That's part of our compensation package, I think, is the enjoyment of the outdoors. So I believe that if you do a job that's utterly miserable, I think you should be paid well for that, because you're not taking back very much margin or meaning in your life. If you're a bin man, I think you should earn a decent living and be able to look after a family, because you're doing a job that not very many people want to do. If you're doing a job that everyone wants to do, like politician, then maybe you should earn a little bit less. But there is still a point where you need to go, okay, you have valid skills, you have, I'm talking to a lot of people here, about a lot of people, you have a profession, you have a career, you have worked hard at what you do, you work sometimes with dangerous tools, you take on a lot of risk, you genuinely want the best for the people that you work with, you have the power to change lives, and yet sometimes we put that aside and we think, as long as what I'm doing is helping people, as long as I'm having fun, I don't need any money. But there's a logical fallacy there, in that it's not a zero-sum game. It's not as if the meaning goes up, the money goes down. I mean, you wouldn't say that doctors don't have a lot of worth in society, but they change lives. A lot of what they do has meaning. Some doctors even enjoy what they do. Therapists, so on. They have valid professions, but nobody begrudges them an income that's greater than the average. At base level, we should be earning more than sales assistants, because we are working at a high professional level. We are bringing more class into it. And I don't know how we got to this point where we can so significantly undervalue ourselves, how we can often be asked to do things like take part in conferences or run events and not be compensated for it. It's as if the gift of giving is the gift itself. But at the same time, society says you need to eat, you need to have a nice car, you need to have a house, you need to be able to look after your children. And somehow the playing in the woods doesn't seem to be valued. So I'm not sure how to get around this, or where thought process really ends, but I'd be interested to know your thoughts. Like, honestly, just drop me an email. Tell me what you think is the real problem behind it. Is it a problem that we have more meaning and less money? Are we underselling ourselves? Or is our job really not that important? Really interested to know. But I think I will leave it there. Remember, if you would like to level up your tarping skills, I have that course, the Essential Tarps and Knots for Forest School Leaders. This is the course that I believe will help you put up those shelters easily in no time and just take the whole stress out of it. You don't need to worry about what the weather's going to do. You just pop the tarp up, you have shade when it's sunny, you have cover when it's raining, and you have a sense of security and belonging underneath it. So if you're interested in that, do check out, that is links in the description. With that, remember to make the most of every day. I'll see you all next time.